Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We've got an incredible guest going to be on the show today, Mr. Crypto Bullseye. He hasn't joined the studio just yet, so I will be bringing him on soon. But real quick, folks, for those of you that are excited to learn about trading, man, I am excited to do some teaching. Things are really starting to pay off. So I posted some of these results in my Telegram group over the weekend. But these are just a few of the trades that I had in play and a few of the things that are going on here. You can see here this Bitcoin perpetual, nothing too exciting, but was up, about 25%. But take a peek here. This Aerodrome, I longed Aerodrome at 75x and was able to pick up a little over 111% fairly quickly. But where it really gets exciting, folks, is over the last few days with this pump, some amazing things really took place. This Atom trade jumped up to 142%. This V-Chain trade, 143%. This dot trade, and you can see here, so these are decent little amounts here. This was $368 in USDT on this dot trade. And then my Uniswap trade, it's a smaller trade, but it's up 472%. And then this is the one that I'm the most excited about here. I got around $650 into HBAR. And my liquidation price, you can see here, my entry price was 13 cents, 13.89 cents. The market price here was 18.723, but HBAR right now is around 23 cents. And it's been pretty fun. My wife was like, well, why don't you cash that out? It's $2,300 plus the 650 that you invested into it. Right now you have about, $3,000 that we could do some life with. And I'm glad that I didn't, though, because take a look at this trade now, folks. I don't know if you could see it on the screen here, but this trade is currently now up 400. Let's see if I can pull this up like this. Yeah, this trade is currently up $4,552 on this trade. And it looks like Keith has joined us, so I'm going to add him to the screen. But I'm excited to talk to Keith about some of these positions because, as you can see here on my account, I've got most of these things still in play. My opinion, and I'm looking forward to getting Keith's input on this. My opinion is that I got in at some incredible entries, and that the odds of these things coming all the way back, like here on HBAR, my liquidation price on HBAR is 12.577 cents. I don't think we're going to see 12.5 cent HBAR anytime in the near future. I feel like this is a trade that I could potentially let run for a long time and really potentially make massive amounts of money. If we go over here to the take profit at just $1, which I think just about every expert in crypto is relatively, pretty safe to say that there's a reasonable likelihood that HBAR can become a $1 token. That's a 62x. So 62 times 600 is a little over 36,000. I've also heard bullish scenarios where people think that HBAR could be a $3 token, a $5 token, but at $3, that becomes a 200x. 200 times 6 would be 120 grand. So if you are sitting here like, my wife kind of questioning me, like, why are you're up 677% on this trade, Brad? You've got $4,500 in profit. Why aren't you cashing it out? Well, I'll tell you why. The main reason is I don't think I'm ever going to have an opportunity to have an entry at 13.891 cents on HBAR anytime soon. So if I take this profit, yes, I might catch a dip, but then when I get ready to start buying back into HBAR, I have to always kind of be worried about getting liquidated. Right now, HBAR could go back 30%. It could go all the way back to 17 cents, 16 cents, and I would still be in profit, and I would still be a long ways away from liquidation. With that, without any further ado, let me get my buddy, my good friend, Mr. Crypto Bullseye, Keith, on the show today, man. I tell you what, Keith, I'm so excited to have you on here today. And when I'm counting my blessings in life, my friend, you are one of them, man. I really am so happy that our paths crossed. And man, you're just such an incredible man, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking some of your valuable time to come on to the show today and share some of your expertise and what you're seeing in the markets with us.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Brad. We're just sharing the love, and I'll completely replicate that to you as well. You're a kind guy, and we kind of hit it off straight away, and I think that it's going to be a long relationship, and I'm looking forward to it. But your community as well, what a great community, and my community started to integrate into your community as well, and we're all getting together and having a lot of fun, and in the Discord group and the Telegram group, so it's pretty active and we're all pretty pumped in there. But we're starting to get some nice price action at the moment. See, everyone's a little bit scared today because of a bit of a pullback, but we talked about the pullback in my recent videos, and we're expecting a bit of a pullback because we're at resistance points where the market's getting a little bit overheated. We've got things that are happening this week. I think is it the Genius Act today, Brad?
Say that again.
Which is it? The Genius Act today that's going through?
I'm not sure. For a guy that's a crypto YouTuber, I don't watch a whole lot of news, and so I don't know, have any idea if that's happening today or not.
Yeah, I think there's something going through today anyway that's going to probably be either good or bad for the market. It's probably good the way it's looking. But we had, I'm pretty sure I've just seen CPI come in at 0.3% over, which on the back of that, Bitcoin, mate, has crashed. Bitcoin has absolutely crashed. And Bitcoin has crashed 2.35%, Brad.
Crash,
2.35%. So yeah, Bitcoin's holding up on the back of that, but Bitcoin's got a little bit of support to pull back to as well. And I think that one good thing is the dominance, and we'll talk about all that very shortly. But we got some good calls last week, didn't we, Brad? And I know that you've got a few good calls as well. It's quite interesting looking at the intro with them trades that you've got there. You've got a few of them going.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I definitely want to have you pull up your charts and stuff at some point in time. It's kind of funny. I've got this long on Bitcoin, and then over on BYDFI, I've actually got a bigger short. I put in about a $700 short at 25x leverage because I was watching a gentleman that I respect this morning that thinks there's a reasonable probability that we might see, like 114.5 on Bitcoin. And so I figured at least if some of my longs that I was showing you on the other screen, get beaten up a little bit, I'll make some money on this Bitcoin short. This is kind of this is a short-term play for me. I'm going to ride it down. If it goes down to in the 14s, and then I'll just take the profit. It's kind of one of those hedges in a sense. If Bitcoin goes up and I lose money on this particular short, the money that I'm going to make on all of those longs that I have on the other page will, more than make up for it. But I'm kind of curious. So even in my own head here, these top two trades are a little bit newer, but like you go down here to this Avalanche trade. I've had this trade in now for a couple of weeks, and this is one where I went a little bit more aggressive. I'm at 20x leverage on this, and as you can see, my entry price is $18.22. Right now it's sitting at $21.21. My liquidation price is down at 18.42 cents, so 18.42. But like sometimes I wonder, here I am, I'm up, 328%, $487 on a $148 trade. And sometimes I wonder if I'm getting too greedy, leaving trades like this in play. I know that Avalanche was just not that long ago, though, it was a $35 token. And I also believe that as Bitcoin peaks and we start to have an altcoin season, that Avalanche could be, a $75 or $100 token. And I'm thinking, well, can I keep this trade in play? And because it's a 20x leverage trade, I don't have as much wiggle room if we do start to get a retracement. So maybe it's a bad example, but I guess I guess my question in a sense is I came in, I don't have a good enough game plan because my
Yeah.
goal is to ride some of these up like that H bar trade. I really think that I'm in a position on that H bar trade to keep that thing in play for 2 or 3 months if I need to.
Yeah.
And I believe that that thing could pay off like massively, like I was showing. I know you were watching, you weren't on the screen yet, but you were hearing me. Like I think that could be 30, 50, $100,000 trade. You out of here, son? Love you very much, man. Have a great day. So I guess, like I said, I'm going back and forth on these trades. Like, when should I take some profit? And what are your thoughts? So we'll scroll down. So the Avalanche, I don't want to put you on the spot. With that being a 20x leverage, I probably should cash it out at some point in time and then maybe look to enter in with a little bit lower leverage if I'm looking to leave it long term. But like this Atom trade here, I mean, I only got $56 in this Atom trade, and I got in at $4 and $4.02. My liquidation price is all the way down at $3.61. This is a trade where I feel relatively comfortable just letting it run. I think that even if Bitcoin has a retracement back to high 108, 109, 110 in that ballpark, or I don't think that that's going to get stopped out. Same thing, this V chain is another, it's only a $55 trade. In fact, I was almost ready to ladder in on those a little bit more and add some to my position. This polka dot trade, $240 in on it. But look at this. I got in on this thing at $3.35. My liquidation price on this dot trade is all the way down at $3.03. So I feel like I kind of got lucky. Well, hard work and preparation and a little bit of luck, but I feel like these trades have been in for now several weeks, some of them a month, and I think I kind of caught the bottom. And I'm very hesitant to sell and take the profit because I'm afraid that I'll never get another entry point like this again. And since my goal is not to just make a few $100s, my goal is to leave these things in play for months, if it takes months, to really enjoy the altcoin season and have some of these trades turn into tens of thousands of dollars. I've told my viewers many times, like, hey, if $100 is a lot of money to you and you have an opportunity, instead of just buying, say, $100 worth of a token spot that's maybe going to 5 or 10x, and you're going to turn your 100 into 500 or 1,000, which is great. If we can get you in on a trade or two like this that has the potential to not only 10x, but you've 10x'd it with 10x leverage, and you can turn your $100 into 10,000, that you can really make some life-changing money with some of these trade setups. And so that's kind of where I'm at mindset-wise. I'm looking at all of this like this is a lot of money. If I was to just cash it out, it's like around $8,000 worth of funds right there that I could hit the cash out button on and then try to figure out new ways to deploy it. But my heart is telling me, just let it ride, Brad. Just let it ride. And that's an awfully long-winded question. It took me 10 minutes to ask you the question, but I'm just kind of curious, like, what are your thoughts? If these were your trades, what would you be doing with them?
Firstly, it's not so bad with my long-winded questions that I give all the time now, Brad. So, yeah, very similar. But I tell you what we could do, actually. How about we keep the viewers happy, we keep your wife happy, and we try and sort this out between us? Because with the AVAX, which one's the 20x, Brad?
Yeah, so the AVAX is 20x leverage. And that one I got in at $18.22, $150, which is now worth unrealized profit is now worth $481 on that. It's up 323%.
If you put your stop loss, Brad, at 19,
go ahead.
If you put your stop loss at,
I don't have a stop loss on any of these as of right now.
Yeah, if you put your stop loss on that 20x leverage one at $19.97, what would that profit be?
Whoop, that's wrong. Let me see here. 1997, you said?
1997, yeah.
19.97 would still be 191%. And if I had 100% of the position going to get sold, it would be $284 in profit.
Yeah. Because we've had 2 wicks to the upside, which has been support, support, support. So as far as bias is concerned, although that we've got downside pressure as well, it's looking like potentially that could come up and test the 200 daily moving average at 23.88. So if I was to play 20x leverage and keep your wife happy, and I was going to keep my wife happy, I'd be putting that around about 1997. And then worst case scenario, you're out, and you're out in profit on that one, my friend. I know what you mean about the long-term positions. With AVAX, as far as your liquidation level was concerned, I think there's a strong possibility if we got downside movement that would get hit.
Yep.
Because we've got next strong supports around about the 1774 kind of mark. So I think that 20x one, that can keep your wife happy. As far as the long-term positions are concerned, I mean, I completely agree with you about getting those killer entries, and as far as like liquidation points are concerned and making sure that we're putting in higher lows consistently during the course of the next few months, then you do want to build those positions, and there's other ways of building the positions. But I think one thing that a lot of people focus on too much is price. And when you're investing, price is one of the most important things, and that entry point is one of the most important things. But when you're trading, your price is different every single day, and you've got opportunities every single day. Obviously, Brad, you've got less opportunities when you're in a bear market or in an accumulation phase or a boring phase, and you do have to take advantage of these bull markets, like you say. But it's okay to try and build a few positions on the long term as well as cashing in positions in the short term, because what that enables you to do is build on that long position if you need to, and then put protections in place, just like you've just done on that trade there, Brad. So I think that we could try and look at these. I mean, give me, it was H bar dot. I think we done dot a few weeks ago on the channel, didn't we?
Yep.
You got H bar.
The H bar trade here, I got in my average entry price is 13.89 cents. This is actually one that I had to ladder into. I started buying H bar at around 15 and a half cents or so. Probably started off with about $100 trade. And then as it came down, I did a ladder for a little over $200. And then when it got all the way down to this little over 13 cents, in order to save that trade, I did a ladder for about $375. And then even this liquidation price of it's down, the liquidation is 12.577. I want to say that it came down just under 12 cents back a few weeks ago and didn't get stopped out. Thank goodness. Cause I wasn't in a position. I was scrambling. Like I was trying to get some more funds so that I could put another ladder in, but I wouldn't have made it. Had it just continued to fall, I probably would have lost that whole $650. Luckily, it turned around and reversed before it hit this liquidation price. But once again, so this was a 25-cent token just a couple of days ago. So I was at my peak at around probably 55 to 5,700 in profit on this trade. And now it's only sitting at currently it's sitting at, what is it? 45, 46, 4,600. So it has come back, $1,000, $900, something like that. But I'm not too worried about the amount. I tell my community a lot, like the number on a screen is just a number on a screen. Like if you want to have $100,000 portfolio, it doesn't really matter if it's 10,000 or 25,000 or 75,000. If it's not 100 yet, it doesn't really matter. That's just noise on the way to your goal. And so I'm not like, even if this thing dips back, like I just, I think I just showed this on, on the Telegram group where, I shared this on the Telegram group over the weekend. I could have taken profit right here at $2,300. There's a lot of people that probably would look at this and go, why aren't you taking profit? So, but like the reason I'm not taking profit is I felt like H bar had broke through some resistance zones And, sure enough, here I am just 2 or 3 days later with this thing being worth, $4,600. So, but I'm still interested. I've seen some people in the chat saying, maybe take 20% off the table, 30% off the table. So that's an idea too that I hadn't really taken a serious look at. Usually when I close out a trade, it's all or none. I either close out 100% or I leave 100% to run. Maybe that's something else that I'm doing incorrectly that I maybe need to start doing, because I don't do that with spot. If I buy $1,000 worth of a token and it, 2 or 3 X's, I'm happy to sell half of what I have and get my initial back and still have half of the tokens left to, for a moonshot, if you will. So I guess maybe that's not a bad idea in the trading world too, because there is, as you see, when you get ready to, if you want to close something like this, it does give you the option to close out 25% or 50% or whatever percentage you want to sell. So maybe something else that I should be considering at these levels is just taking a percentage off the table.
Firstly, pat on the back to them. That's something that I was going to suggest myself, and it's great that the community are thinking of these things as far as risk management is concerned, because it was something that I was going to suggest, Brad, and it is an idea. And the thing is, when you're at a resistance point, taking 20 or 30% off the table actually gives you that edge, because when you come back down to the support point, then you can reaccumulate that amount, and you can even increase the leverage, and you can put your stop loss up, and you can use all these techniques and risk management tips to keep your wife happy, to ensure that you're banking profits along the way. And I think that's a good idea. The other thing that I was just thinking of, Brad, as far as the, what was the other trade? First one.
The AVAX?
The AVAX trade. With the AVAX trade on the 20X one, if you were thinking about building a position, and if you wanted to build a position over a longer period of time, and you're looking to build that position, one thing that you can do collectively is you've put yourself in a position now where you've got choices. You've got lots of choices there, Brad, with the nice wins that you've got in that H-bar one. You've absolutely nailed the entry on that one, absolutely smashed the entry on that one. But what you've done is you've created choices. So you've got profits here, and you were telling me about when you were scaling down and you were scaling down, you had limited profits, and that's just what happens all the time, Brad. I've been caught on it. Everybody here can probably relate to that. When you get liquidated and you add in and you add in and you add in and bringing your average down and bringing your average down, at the time where you get that capitulation, a lot of the time, a lot of people don't survive, and the market's designed to do that. And it's designed to mess with your mind as well. But if you flip it in reverse and think what we're doing now is the opposite. You've got capital, you've got free capital that you've got there. It might be unrealized now. If you realize that capital, you would get FOMO, that that thing that you were in is going to run tomorrow, it's going to run the day after, and it's going to run for the next 2 weeks, and you're going to miss out on them gains. So when you're on a 20X leverage, that means that you've put 1 times your position and you've borrowed 19 times your position, and collectively you've got that 20X leverage, and you've built that position into a decent size now where you can give yourself that option where you could even cash out now, and then you could look for an entry on one of the other trades that's going to give you that better entry with a bigger position, and then at a lower leverage for a longer period of time. So you can think about scaling out your high risk positions, putting them into a lower risk position, giving yourself the chance that you're going to get it at support rather than just buying it sporadically. And then that's how you can help to build your position over a longer period of time. Because ideally you want to condense and condense and condense. You don't want to be managing 10 big trades. That'll be a nightmare. You want to be looking at how you can take profits from one. And as some of the audience suggested, 20 to 30%, you could take 20, 30%, and you could stick it in H bar when it comes back to its next support level. I think 20 cents is going to be a good level for H bar. We've got 23 cents that it's reacting from now, but you've also got 20 cents as well, which is the 200 daily moving average. So if H bar comes back to 20 cents, for example, you cashed in your AVAX now, waited for 20 cents, and then added to the position and built that position with the intention of making H bar going to be one of the ones that's going to run over the next period of the next month, 2 months, 2.5 months, however long it takes. But the bigger the capital, the more the risk, the more the emotion, and the more that you need to put the risk management in place, and the more that you need to ensure that you've got stop losses in place. You can have big wiggle room on your stop losses, Brad. You could put stop losses below 2 lower highs or higher lows, sorry, and ensure that you're still banking and give yourself that wiggle room that if the market did reverse, that you have got quite a lot of wiggle room to the downside. But when it gets bigger and it gets bigger, that's where it starts messing with your mind, and that's where you start needing to increase your awareness, increasing your risk management. I mean, something that I've done, Brad, I've got two $5,000 positions, a $4,500 position, a $5,000 position. One of them was very similar. That was the Polkadot trade, very similar to your position where you'd scale down and you'd scale down. So I'd managed to do that, and I'd scale down and scale down on the Polkadot trade. That one's just in profit now. And the other one's an Illuvium trade, and that's a $4,500 trade. What I'm interested in at the moment, Brad, is my free $10 trade that I got from an exchange last week. And this is something that you touched on earlier on, what you can do with a small amount of capital. Free $10 trade. First one was Floki. So I got Floki. I'd got a breakout on Floki. I'd done that on a low leverage, well, mid leverage, because it was a free $10. So it was a 5x leverage. So I managed to get 150% on that, $15, $15, $25. $25 randomly. I was looking on my phone and I was looking at Pengu, and I'd got a breakout on Pengu, and it was a breakout which was a diagonal rather than a horizontal, carries more weight behind it, smaller time frame. Absolutely battered that on a 30x leverage. Nice. And then got a few $100s on that one. So got a few $100s on that one, traded another couple of trades, and there was about $15 on each of them. And that $10, which was free, is now $270. So I've got this Polkadot position around $5,000. I've got this Illuvium position around $4,500. And all I'm bothered about is this free $10 trade that I got over the last few days, and trading that and seeing what I can do as far as compounding it's concerned, because it is the compounding that you like, and it's the risk management that you like. And that's the thing that what you focus on, what I focus on, and how you can actually build something out of nothing, because it wasn't from $10, it was from a free $10. And I'm not going to share what the exchange is, because I don't work with exchanges, but I just got an email, got free $10, went into the account, transferred it over, and that was the trades that I'd taken. I put each and every single one of those trades in my Discord as well, Brad.
Beautiful. Well, I definitely appreciate the input. I guess where my mind is on like some of these trades. So once again, if we go back to HBAR, my liquidation price is 12.57 cents. 12 cents, 12.57 cents is the easiest way to say it. So although I would be probably a little bit frustrated if, let's say, this thing retraced all the way back to 15 cents and I was only, say, whatever, at 15 cents, let's call it $1,000 in profit or $500 in profit, that would be a little frustrating to me. But I'm emotionally aware of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And in my mind, as long as the HBAR trade doesn't come back to a liquidation point, I'm kind of happy to let it run, because I'm a little bit nervous. Let's say that, I guess where I get nervous, let's say that I take a bunch of profit off the table with it, and now it comes back down to, say, 20 cents. And you're saying that 20 cents is a good spot to, maybe to get back into another trade on HBAR. Yeah. What I would be afraid of then is that now my liquidation price with 10x leverage, my liquidation price is going to be 18 cents. And I would be in a little bit of not a constant state of worry, but obviously if I'm in at 20 and my liquidation is at 18, I would probably want to go have a ladder in at 18 to back up the 20-cent trade. And I just I think to myself, like, if I had gotten into HBAR at 20 cents on this trade, and now it's at 23 cents, I can certainly see pulling money off the table, de-risking. But in my mind, I'm like, what are the odds? Like, the market would have to just absolutely capitulate like way worse than any of us can even imagine it happening for this thing to retrace 50%, don't you think? Like in order to see 12.5 cent H bar, don't you feel like it would almost be like apocalyptic type of, downside?
I don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it, but you still have to plan and prepare for it.
Okay.
It's no, I understand what you mean. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned with the H bar, I don't think it's going to go back down to there. I think you've absolutely nailed the entry as far as that's concerned. You've got the major bottom, which is 12.5 cents there. But I mean, the 618, Brad, if it done a 1.8% retracement just from this previous swing, that is, and that does coincide with structure, that's 17.5 cents. Yeah, 17.5 cents that would be. So
that's curious. Let's take a look at something then really quick here. If we go to the take profit stop loss, we take the stop loss here on that H bar trade and we put in a trigger price of 0.17. You said 17.5?
But the 618, 17.5. So if it pulled back to the 618, you could still get a wick below the 618 and then dip back up. I personally don't think it's going to come back that far. I think the 38.2% retracement at 20 cents and then the 200 daily moving average, which is also just above 20 cents, is going to be a strong support base there. But if I was going to...
If we put in a stop loss at 17.5, it would still be up 1,732%, or I mean, it would be up 259%, and it would be a profit of 1,732. So okay, so like even that would suck, knowing that at one point in time it was worth over $5,000. But in the grand scheme of things, if I told you ahead of time, hey, I'm going to give you this $650 trade and you're going to end up making $1,750 in profit on that, is that exciting? You'd be like, man, yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And so part of what I've trained myself, kind of like in poker, I've mentioned that I've played a lot of poker. Yeah. If you buy into a poker game for $1,000 and you run it up into 10 grand, and then instead of quitting, you can continue to play because you think you're in a good game, you're in a positive EV situation, but you get unlucky and you lose $5,000 and then you quit. A lot of people are unhappy because all they're thinking about is the 5,000. They had 10 and now it's only 5. But I've gotten pretty good at training my mind to realize, hey, you started with $1,000 and you've got 5. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at here too. Like if this ran all the way down to $1,700 profit, not that big of a deal. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, completely agree. Do you know, it's a funny thing though, Brad, what you mentioned earlier, as far as scaling in is concerned and trying to get that entry, and by averaging your position up, it's increasing your actual liquidation point. I have a long conversation with one of my good friends from Block 3 Finance, Warren, and we talk about this because psychologically our mind is get that lower price, get that lower entry, get your average position down from an investing perspective. But when you think trading, what you're actually doing is, from a mindset perspective, you're in a loss. You're in a deeper loss. You're in a deeper loss. You don't know where this thing's going to end, and that can cause stress, that can cause anxiety, that can cause chaos, that can cause you to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do unless you were physically in that trade. Now, with trading, we say, flip your mindset. It is all right to average your position up. It's fine to average your position up, as long as you're taking positions on the resistance points, 20%, 30%, like the guys mentioned, at those resistance points. And then when that comes back down to support, you can even increase the leverage on a breakout, Brad. And then you can add that profits that you've taken from that previous resistance point at a lower level, increase the leverage. And by the time that you get back up to the point that you're taking profits with that increased leverage and with that position that you've got at a lower level, you might have averaged your position up, but you're going to get bigger gains just back to the previous swing. And if it's going to be a continuation, then your position's even better. But then you need to start applying stop losses. That's the problem. You need to start applying 20% resistance sell wall orders. You need to start thinking about how you're going to actually manage the trade. So as far as that's concerned, it's sorry, the door's going off.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So as far as that's concerned, it's averaging your position up from a psychological perspective is better because you're winning, you're managing, you're taking profits, you're banking, the P&L's going up. You're not going through the volatility that you normally go through when you're just waiting for the market to do its thing, going up, going down, and then just sometimes it's months, isn't it, Brad? It goes 6-7 months when we're going sideways, when we're going down. And that's a long time to be in a trade. And that creates the anxiety and it creates all of these different emotions that make us do things that we shouldn't do, basically. So I think that averaging your position up, and this is a long-winded way of saying it, averaging your position up when you're trading is a better thing than averaging your position down. Okay. Cutting your losses is a strong thing. Cutting your losses is a strong thing. And as far as the AVAX trade's concerned, I mean, literally, I was thinking, yeah, put your stop loss up. But now that I'm thinking, probably look at reallocating that on something like H-bar at 20 cents. Yeah, I'll average your position up slightly, ever so slightly. But by the time that you've got a breakout and a move to the next swing, then your position is going to be a hell of a lot bigger. And I mean, the aim of the game is when you're in a bull market, Brad, if it's confirmed bull market, you are going to be putting in higher highs and you're going to be putting in higher lows. So averaging your position up a little bit isn't a bad thing because you've got that higher low to protect you. And then averaging it up again, you've got that higher low to protect you. So as long as you've got the protections in place, you can play it like that. And psychologically, it helps your mindset because you've got choices, you've got profit, you've got cash on the table, rather than lowering your position down and using all of your capital within the exchange, whatever it is that you've got, your trading positions. You've got options because you can take money off the table and you can have choices to reallocate that at lower levels, to even invest in something else if something else is running. Those options you haven't got when you're just scaling down in a trade. So it can be a dangerous thing. And anybody that's on a 20x leverage or a 30x leverage or a 40x leverage, I highly recommend that you are careful.
Okay.
And if you do get lucky, I mean, Brad, you've absolutely smashed that AVAX trade. You've absolutely smashed that H-bar trade. Even taking 50% off the table is not going to be a bad thing.
Right. It only took me, I started doing this, I call it the Varnell trader system, where I'm doing these ladders rather than doing stop losses where I do these ladders. It took me 8-9 months to really kind of hone in and get a system that was working. It also took a while to hit the bottom. Like I thought when Polkadot, I was just looking at Polkadot. Well, even like this, Polygon is another good one where I thought when we were sitting here on Polygon a few months ago at, 30, 35 cents, that was a pretty darn good time to start, like doing these ladder trades on Polygon. And then it ran, Polygon went all the way down to, I want to say about 16 cents at its absolute lowest here, 17 cents. So from 30 cents down to 17, that's a pretty significant, it's hard to keep trades in play when something retraces 40%. So I finally kind of caught the bottom. And that's kind of what I told my community. I said, I might lose $100, $200, $300, 4, 5, 6 times on the way down if I'm not catching the bottom. But man, when I catch the bottom and this stuff starts heading back up, I'm going to recoup my losses and make some massive gains. And it's finally looking like, that is where we're at. So I wanted to just answer a couple of questions really quick. Mr. None the Wiser, I think this gentleman is actually from your community, asked, are we voting this week on the AGAPE token? And so I wanted to pull this up and let him know. So the duration, the voting and nomination round started on July 9th. It goes until July 23rd. So I believe that the nomination round will last until the 21st, and then we'll have 48 hours of voting. So you got about a week before we're going to be voting again. And that reminds me, guys, for those of you that are nominators, get your nominations in. We still got about a week or so left, but there's only one nomination so far. So for those of you that own 777 in AGAPE, get your nominations in before you forget. I know people end up going on vacations, stuff comes up, and all of a sudden the deadline is passed and they didn't get a token nominated. But yeah, the next voting round for the Infinite AGAPE token will start on, I got this at a little bit better time, at least for me, Keith. It's 5:55 p.m. is going to be the cutoff, I believe, on July 21st. And then July 23rd at 5:55 p.m. will be the end of the voting. But what I'd like to do now, Keith, if it sounds good to you, is I'd like to have you share your screen. And
Sure.
I'd like you to maybe take a little bit of a look at Bitcoin and, maybe, take a look at what you're seeing and give us a couple. One of my favorite things is when somebody like you says, hey, we're in this channel, and if we break to the downside, the next level of resistance is, say, that 14,500. And then if we break through 14,500, it looks like the next stop is 111,752. And then on the verses, like if you're like, hey, we're sitting here at 17,250, if we get a reversal and we can break back up above whatever 119,000, then the next stop is 122. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not what you think we're gonna see next, and what the next couple of, like, what the resistance is to the downside, and what we got to break through on the upside to make new highs and potentially see $125,000, $130,000 Bitcoin.
Sure thing, mate. Sure thing. So we'll start with Bitcoin. This is the daily chart against USDT. So we're at 117,332. If it were down on the day, pretty much most cryptocurrencies. That was CPI 0.3% over. What does CPI 0.3% over mean? It means that there's a higher possibility that the Fed's not going to reduce rates in July. However, Bitcoin's held up. Altcoins have still put in higher lows. We're still up on the week. And then this is the wick to the downside. So this is a bearish pattern. You've got a 3-bar reversal. We talked about this in the previous video. So you've got a green bullish candle. You've got an indecision candle. That's followed by a wick to the upside. This was green all the way up to this point at one point, and then we've come all the way back down here. And then we've got a red candle today. We've got 7 hours left. If that closes below the extreme low of the previous candle, that's a 3-bar reversal, and then we'd expect further downside. One thing that does excite me, Brad, we're going to talk about the resistance points and the support points very shortly, but one thing that interests me is what we talked about in the previous video, which was here. We'd said we were going to get a candle to the downside once we've broken this support, and then we'd get another candle to the downside, and we'd come back down and test this level here. So we come back down and tested this level here, but look at this red candle here on the Bitcoin dominance. This is music to my ears. This downside candle here. So that downside candle there, what does that represent? That represents something. That represents we've got fear in the market because CPI is a little bit higher than expected. We've got downside. We've got Bitcoin that's dropped a whole whopping 2.29%. And guess what? Altcoins are outperforming. So the altcoins are not panicking. The altcoins are starting to reverse. Altcoins are dropping a new support base. Oh, sorry, the Bitcoin dominance is dropping a new support base. So I'm happy about this, Brad. If this continues down and this continues down and we start breaking these support bases, if you just zoom out and look at this on the weekly, look how small that candle is, Brad. Look how small that candle is. We got this one here in, when's that? May 2025. We've got this big one here, which was back end of the year where we had a bit of a rally in the altcoins. But when we zoom out and we look, what we've got left to go. Wow. Got a long way to go, and that candle looks really insignificant on the weekly. So I'm really happy about that. Dominance is dropping. That means that there's panic in the market. Got a little candle on Bitcoin, a little red candle on Bitcoin. We've got a drop in dominance signaling that the altcoins are outperforming. So as far as the support base is concerned, Brad, you were talking about that. We've got $115,000. That's small support. You can see we've got a bounce there. It's likely to come back down if we get further downside, $115,000. The more likely support base is here, which was this previous resistance, previous resistance, previous resistance until we broke out. We haven't come back and we haven't reclaimed this level yet. So that would be my next major support base, which is around 110,000 to 111,000. So if we drop this base here, which is small support base, 115,000, then we're coming back down to the next bit. So that's 110. Yeah.
I got a quick question for you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but something that you said really stood out to me. In general, I tell my community and even in my own life, I don't even have to look at my portfolio most of the time to know whether it's up or down. All I have to do is look at the price of Bitcoin.
Yes.
But what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, let me, if I'm understanding you, it sounds like there comes a time where it's actually a positive thing for the altcoins. Even if Bitcoin is retracing, that can actually be a positive thing when it comes to the altcoin season. And so are you of the opinion that maybe Bitcoin retracing a bit isn't going to necessarily be a bad thing for these trades that we have in play, these altcoins, that actually Bitcoin might start coming down and that could actually catapult our leveraged trades on these altcoins up?
Yeah, I do actually, Brad. The 20x one's a little bit different because you've got low liquidation point on that. You've only got 5% wiggle room on that, and you get 5% in half an hour in crypto. So, but the other ones, yeah, completely agree with that. So with the dominance, if you look at the dominance and you can see this one, it's going to be important to monitor this. And if we do drop this 64.07% level today, within the next 6 hours and 58 now, it's going to be really, really strong because this is a full-bodied candle, and a full-bodied candle represents and carries a lot of weight behind it. So basically, if you think of it as, when I look at the chart, I don't just look at candles. I think about, from a psychological perspective, what's going on, what's happening. Were people feeling good? Were people feeling bad? What's happening? What are people actually doing? And you can see that Bitcoin's pulling back. Bitcoin dominance is pulling back even harder. And as you say, usually you just look at Bitcoin and then that tells you if your portfolio is up or down. Something's shifting now. And if you think of people that were in Bitcoin that are taking profits, and there is going to be some people taking profits, they want to go and take profits from their Bitcoin that they've bought at 15,000, 20,000, 30, 40, whatever it is. They want more on risk, higher profits within a shorter amount of time. They're going to switch to altcoins, but they need confidence. And for confidence, they need drops in dominance. They need weak dollars. They need all these certain things to happen. And now you're starting to see that Bitcoin's pulling back. So some of Bitcoin's liquidity, even like 1% of Bitcoin's liquidity, stick that into the altcoin market. That is a massive amount of capital that's going into the altcoin market. So you can start seeing that some people will be starting to take profits. That's probably going to be retail more than institutions. I don't know that, but that's just what I think by just looking at a chart. I'm just guessing. I'm trying to understand exactly what's going on. And I can see that the rotation of capital is actually starting to go from Bitcoin into things like Ethereum, because we can see that Bitcoin's gone down, but Ethereum's gone up today. So that's already signaling one thing. If we look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, I haven't looked at these yet, we know that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin today. So you can see that, could money be coming out of Bitcoin and going into Ethereum? Could money be going out of Bitcoin going into other altcoins? We could take a look at a few altcoins very shortly, but this is the rotation of capital. And this is the unusual thing with crypto, where you get that kind of change of narrative, change of mindset and confidence in the market. When we get this big break of total three, that's where everybody's going to be going to want to be in the market, Brad. Everyone's going to want a piece of crypto once we get that break and close of total three. But they're going to be late to the game, and it's going to be more difficult for them to play, and they're not going to understand what downside in crypto is. So it's going to be a lot harder for the new guys, and the guys that are here now, that have been through the grind, that have been through the pain of the last couple of years, and they've been through the disbelief and all of these different emotions, a lot of negative ones over the last couple of years. We've been through all these different emotions together. We understand exactly what crypto can do. It's not going to go to the moon. It's not going to keep going up forever. And you've got to do something if you want to actually take advantage of this market within a short period of time by having that exit strategy in play. So you can start seeing the shift in narrative. It doesn't happen very often. Doesn't happen very often. And it's looking like the Bitcoin dominance is physically topping out now. That's the daily chart. That's higher conviction. So I am expecting further downside, and I'm expecting a pump on altcoins. And it's going to be interesting to find out what's going to go through Congress this week, because you've got the Genius Act, the US, the Stablecoin Regulation Act, or whatever it's called. And then the other one as well. I can't think of all three of them off the top of my head. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the week, because they're calling it crypto week. They're hyping it up. And usually when you get that kind of hype, that coincides with a crash in the market. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback in the market, but we're not seeing anything like any kind of crash. So I'm thinking that crypto week's going to be positive for crypto, just looking at the charts. And if we do get a pullback, I think that it's going to be a healthy pullback, because we are at resistance. And I looked at the chart today and I'd seen a pullback in Bitcoin, and I'd just seen a couple of percent in Bitcoin. And then I looked at the news afterwards and then seen that CPI was higher than expected. So it's like looking at the chart, you can actually tell a story with the news or before the news has happened. Or even after the news has happened. So you can just look at a chart, and that just represents a picture of exactly what's happened in time. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. However, we were at a resistance point. It looked like we were going to pull back. We needed to pull back. CPI 0.3%. And it's really weird the way that it happens, Brad. You've got a support base, and then you look at the news, something positive's happened, you'll get a bounce. And then you'll be at another resistance point, and you're looking, you're thinking, right, that needs to pull back. Then you'll look at the news. There'll be something negative in the news that's caused fear in the market. And it's so strange that you just look at the technicals and then you look at the news, and it kind of just follows. So it's an interesting thing, and it's going to be interesting to find out exactly how this week plays out. So I'm looking forward to this week and going into next week as far as regulatory frameworks concerned on that.
Okay. So I came across this tweet earlier, and I just wanted to, show it to you. It says, this is Wendy O. She's got a pretty big cryptocurrency YouTube channel, but she tweeted this out July 14th. And it says, Bernstein says to expect a long and exhausting crypto bull market and calls for 200K Bitcoin by 2026. What are your thoughts on that? Do you I know when we talked about it last week, if I remember correctly, you're not as optimistic that we're going to see that kind of a number for Bitcoin by the end of this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, the business cycle and the 4-year cycle, which coincide with each other, they do tend to last around about 4 years, Brad. It's not an exact science. If we just go back to the one that I demonstrated previously and go back to the weekly, just demonstrated, we've seen that these cycles are estimated every 4 years, and then bear market's estimated every 1 year as far as Bitcoin's concerned. But the 4-year business cycle is a lot more volatile than that, and you do see a lot more downside than what you see downside in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's an appreciating asset over time because it's deflationary, and it becomes more deflationary over time, so the price goes up. So I personally think that super cycles are a bit of a myth. Now, I've read a lot of books. Super cycle is a word that has been driven into markets, and it's not just crypto markets. It was way before crypto. Stocks, it is a retail thing. Super cycle is a narrative that is driven on people, same as diamond hands, diamond hands, diamond hands. It's a narrative that's driven into the retail to make them think that they're going to get a lot more, to make them greedy, and to give them hope. And then bam. So these narratives are pushed into you, and these narratives are pushed into you. And one thing that I said was, I don't exactly think that this is going to be the end of the cycle, but I do believe in the 4-year cycle. And I think that it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be volatile, and I think it's going to be fast. And do I think that it could go past 13th of October 2025? Yes. Could go further than that. Do I think it's going to go into 2026? I definitely don't think it's going to go into 2026, Brad. It could, because we're late in the year. We can see that Powell's late in the year. But when you look at the M2 money supply and you look at the actual flow of capital, the flow of capital's been here. It's just been directed towards Bitcoin. Now we're late, and we're looking to see the reversal as far as altcoins are concerned. And Brad, I ain't risking it. I'm not risking it. I've got my strategy in play, and that's a short period of time, and I'm going to try and capitalize on that. Do you know what? If I'm wrong, then I could trade the rest of it with a smaller amount of capital, and then not be greedy, because I just want the safe gains, Brad. I've got an exit strategy in place. I've been transparent with my community from day one with this exit strategy. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows what my confirmation of alt season is. It's the break, it's the close of total 3, it's the drop in dominance. All of these metrics have got to happen before I could scale out of the market. And we could just look at total 3 now. And this is what was making me excited, because we did actually get to around about 18% from all-time highs. And that would be my position to start scaling out the market, Brad. And that's what I was saying earlier on about the people that are here now are early. We haven't had a break. We haven't had a close of total 3. We haven't had what I call confirmation of alt season, because that was more liquidity in the market outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum than 2021 at the all-time high. Haven't had any of that yet. So once we get that and I start exiting the market over a 10 to a 12-week period, then other people are going to be entering into the market over that 10 to 12-week period. And the people that are here now and the people that are early before the break and close of total 3, if they're doing the same and they're exiting the market, they're creating the exit liquidity, and the new market retail are buying from them. So it's this, we're being the smart money within retail by being early here and by understanding that you have to have the exit plan. And when you start exiting out the market and exiting out the market, you need to think to yourself, what happens if the market goes down tomorrow? What happens if you're wrong? You need to have these things in place. So I'm going to be with you guys. And a couple of the guys as well within the Discord group asked me, and a couple of the guys in YouTube said, am I going to be in the bear market with you guys? Yes, I'm going to be in the bear market with you guys. I'm going to be more active in the bear market with you guys. And do you know what, guys? I'm aiming to capitalize from my crypto and then put that into assets that are going to do well in a bear market, things that done well in a bear market before. We had horrible things happening in the world. We talked about it before, Brad. We had wheat, we had natural gas. Oil always performs well in a bear market. All of these things that are more scarce during a bear market because there is limited supply, higher demand, that takes liquidity out of the retail. This is during the time of quantitative tightening. This is when people have no money. So we want to be putting the assets off risk into things that are going to be doing well once crypto is going through a bear market. And what does that allow us to do? That allows us to recapitalize the next cycle, not get hit hard during the downside that crypto gets, and then be able to make gains during a bear market and then reinvest in crypto at a low level during the next cycle. So that goes on with the compound effect that you were talking about earlier as well, Brad.
Right. And I assume you're planning on shorting Bitcoin and a lot of these altcoins, you know, back down during the bear market and making money all the way down too, right?
Potentially, I could take a position, but the problem with that is you're thinking once you come out of the market, you want to be going off risk. So if you were going to short the market and you're going to short Bitcoin, you'd have to do it in a safe way. Would the exchange that you're using be safe? Would something go wrong? We've seen FTX, we've seen Mt. Gox, we've seen these exchanges blow up. What happens if that exchange did go bust? You've got to try and de-risk from an on-risk asset into a less risky asset. And along with that, it is wherever you're going to be putting that asset. So as far as leveraging Bitcoin is concerned, I would do it with like 1-2% of what I expect to get out the crypto market. I don't know what I'm going to get out the crypto market. No one knows. It could crash tomorrow. We don't know. We've played the game for a few years and everything's looking good now. We've got everything in line for a decent alt season, but we don't know what's going to happen. But the aim of the game is to be able to put the risk outside of the on-risk assets that we're in now and the high volatile ride that we call crypto. So I'd be going into things like, I mean, over in the UK, we've got FCA registered brokers and that kind of thing where we can actually physically have our assets backed with collateral. So in case something goes wrong with the exchange, they've got the capital to be able to put that in. So it's kind of like they've got their own insurance policy. So you need to be thinking about de-risking, not just from one asset, which is high risk, to another asset, which is low risk. You need to be thinking how you de-risk from a platform potentially that is high risk to a platform potentially that is going to give you that security. Because bear markets are horrible. You've got to make sure that your assets are in a safe place.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, we're going to shift gears again here real quick. Let me pop over back to my screen. And guys, I want to do a couple of different things. So the first thing here is Billy Bassett asked how to use the Telegram referral. And so Billy, I popped it up onto the screen for you, but just to go back to it real quick, in the description of just about all of my videos for the last couple of months, pretty close to the top here, it shows Infinite Agape token is launched. And this is the Telegram group and the Twitter account for the Infinite Agape Telegram group. You're just going to click this link here. It's going to take you here. You're going to click open in Telegram, and it's going to take you to your referral bot page. And basically, it's just going to ask you for your email. We're doing some things to try to really keep the bots out of the Telegram group. So you're going to put in your Telegram group, and then you're going to see here, like it's going to pop up your personal referral link. This is my personal referral link. You're going to have this referral link, and you basically just give it to people that you want to invite into the Infinite Agape family. And that is how, A, you can get into the Telegram group, and then B, you can use your affiliate link here to invite other people. So hopefully that all makes sense. Once again, just go to the description of any of these videos and click here on this link, and then hit open in Telegram. That'll open up your Telegram. You can join the group. And then I also wanted to pop over here and show you guys, for those of you that haven't seen Keith on the channel before, if you're watching today for the first time, Keith owns Crypto Bullseye. The incredible YouTube channel. This guy deserves hundreds of thousands more subscribers than he has, and it's just a matter of time before he gets there. But I wanted to point out, not only is he amazing when it comes to his technical analysis and being able to trade, but he really puts out some incredible videos on individual tokens. You can see here, Polkadot entry nailed, the next big move revealed. I'm a big Polkadot guy. I love Polkadot. I know there's a lot of people that think that Polkadot's kind of fading, into oblivion, but I do think that Polkadot is going to be around for a long time to come. So my point is, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, we want to help him get to 10,000 subscribers. He should be there in no time, with the quality of videos that he's putting out, and not only the quality, but the quantity. Look at this, guys. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 9 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 days, like he is putting out videos. Well, I should go down here. 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Like, he's putting out videos darn near every single day. And, he's got a great community. He's got an incredible Discord group. If you have not joined his Discord group, join his Discord group. And once again, you can do that right here in the description of this video. Join the Crypto Bullseye family here. You can go to his YouTube channel here and subscribe. You can go to his Twitter account here and follow him. And then you can just click this link, and boom, it's going to take you directly to his Discord channel. So make sure that we're going to have a big party when he hits 10,000 subs, and he's at almost 9,600 right now. So let's help him get there, man. He deserves every sub. Incredible guy, hardworking guy, and I just want to make sure that you guys are all watching these videos, because this Polkadot video here is an amazing video. And so if you really want some one-on-one time with Keith in a shorter 7-8, he's not. The other thing I love about you, Keith, is you say you're long-winded, but man, you are able to break down some really technical information and some incredible value into short videos. Like, I don't think I've ever done a video that's less than about 20 minutes long, but you consistently are able to nail what you want to say in 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. So guys, if you're in a hurry and want to get some incredible information, definitely go subscribe to the Crypto Bullseye. And then last but not least, guys, something that's been on my heart. As you guys know, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for my whole life. My dad started teaching me about Jesus about the time I was old enough to walk and talk. But, I've gone through stages in my life where I really was more worldly than I was spiritual. And I've been a lukewarm Christian a lot of my life, where I had 1 foot in the world and 1 foot, in my faith. And just over the last month or so, I've really, gotten on fire. and really been talking about God and talking about my relationship with Jesus even more. And I was challenged at an event about a month ago to step up and to be a leader of a small group. And so I decided, I took that challenge, I accepted that challenge. And so for any of you guys, whether you are believers or not, you don't have to believe in God or believe in Jesus in order to be a part of this small group. But we just started it here. Tonight's going to be the first night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. I know for those of you that live on the other side of the world, that's going to be a rough time for you. I couldn't create a time that was going to be good for everybody, and I kind of had to go with what was going to work good for my wife and my family and I. But tonight at 6 p.m. on a Zoom call, we're going to start doing a small group. And I just, read this to you really quick so you kind of have an idea of what it's all about. But I started this men's Bible study to create a space where men can be real, challenge each other to grow, and get rooted in God's truth. This isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, being accountable, and becoming the men God has called us to be. Whether you're new to the faith or just need a solid group of brothers to walk with, you're welcome here. So for any of you that are interested in joining my men's group, I mentioned in the Telegram group that it is just for men. But my wife's got you ladies covered. She's starting a small group for ladies, and I'll get the links to that small group into all of the socials and into the description here very soon. So if there's any ladies on the call here today that would love to be a part of a small, women's group where you're talking about God and just, having that friends, Keith, in crypto, it can be a pretty lonely space sometimes. And I think that's one of my favorite things about having gotten to know you is, man, it's so nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of and to talk. I can cry on your shoulder a little bit if something goes wrong and I lose my tail. I can get in touch with you if something goes right and I'm excited. So I think it's important in all facets of life, whether it's your cryptocurrency journey or your spiritual journey, health and fitness, same thing. Like if you're trying to get healthy and you're just like a man on an island, you're trying to do it all by yourself, that's tough. But if you can get around some other people that are healthy, some other people that have done what you're trying to do, some people that have lost 50 or 100 pounds and have kind of paved the way and can show you the path, it just makes life so much easier. And so I'm trying to make that accessible for those of you guys that maybe have a little bit of a thirst for God, that maybe feel like something's missing and you want to learn more about God. Please feel free to join us tonight at 6 p.m. This link right here, this Wealthy Kingdom Church, this link right here will take you to the sign up page. It's just going to ask you for a little bit of information, and then it's going to give you the link to where you can join us tonight. So you're going to hit this request to join button, and it's going to give you the link to the Zoom with the password and everything that you need to join me tonight at 6 p.m. So for anybody watching today that would like to join up, there's no commitment necessary. You're not committing to being there every single Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Get there as much as you can, but we understand there's vacations, there's lives, there's dinner dates, there's, everything in the world that can happen that would keep you away. So it's not like you're saying, hey, I'm going to be there every Tuesday, come heck or high water. We want you there whenever you can be there. But I think that's all of my housekeeping news, Keith. Do you have anything else that you would like to add to anything that I said, or anything that you would like to tell people about your channel or about your Discord group?
Yeah, thank you for all the kind words, to be honest with you, Brad. One thing that we're trying to do here as a community is to build education. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. And one thing, Brad, I'm trying to force education on my community at the moment. And the guys in the Discord group, they're the ones that want to commit. They're the ones that want to learn. And I don't charge them anything to do that. But on the YouTube channel, that's something completely different. If you say banana time for dot, we got a dot trade, we nailed the dot trade, that'll get a lot of views. If I said, this is how you can trade dot using the RSI, then it won't get many views. So I've had to kind of collectively force education onto my community as far as YouTube's concerned. But the guys in the Discord group, and anybody's welcome to join the Discord group, it is completely free. that's where all the magic happens, and that's where the people want to self-develop, and that's where the people want to educate themselves. And if you think about it, they're the people that are going outside of YouTube and taking the time out to put that extra effort in there, and they're wanting to learn. I've got a couple of guys and a couple of interesting questions in the Discord group this morning that I had to answer in depth, and it was all about trading view and how you apply certain things on your charts and certain risk management techniques. So there's lots going on there all the time. And as far as the channel's concerned, I cannot wait to get to 10,000 subscribers. It has been a long grind, Brad, nearly 3.5 years now. But I think that the one thing is I've stayed true to my word. I've stayed true to who I am. Nothing's changed as far as my strategy is concerned from the whole time that I've been doing the channel. That's what I've told people. And unfortunately, you're starting during a bear market. It's a disadvantage, but I'm quite happy to have a low amount of subscribers and to take my community through a bear market and the difficulties of a bear market so they can reap the rewards of the bull market. And probably when I get to 20,000, 30,000 subscribers, there are additional 20,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, probably they're going to be the ones that are going to be buying the pumps and buying the pumps and buying the pumps. And the first 10,000 of you guys that are going to be here with me that's learned how to go through the pain, how to self-develop, how to mitigate risk, and how we've been smashed time and time again over the past few months, then you guys are the believers, and you guys are the ones that understand exactly what the other side looks like. These new guys that are coming into crypto, unfortunately, they're not going to know what the other side looks like. They're just going to see those green candles to the moon. Tomorrow they're making double, the day after they're making double, the day after they're making double, and never guess what? They're borrowing 5,000 to stick it in there. Everybody, then you get the parabolic phase, everything goes crazy, everything's over leveraged, and then it comes crashing down like a house of cards. But unfortunately, that's the time when you get lots of subscribers. That's the time when you should be actually educating the risk management. You should be developing the portfolios. That you should be all of these things with the people that are going to be late to the channel. It's going to be more difficult because they haven't had the time to develop during these cycles, during the time of the bear market. And you can develop during a bull market. You can gain knowledge during a bull market. But unless you've been through that pain, Brad, that we've been through, and the guys that here have been through, they don't understand exactly what potentially could happen. So what I'm saying is, guys, thank you all for all your support. I know that I'm nearly at 10,000 subscribers, but from the bottom of my heart, I do appreciate each and every single one of you, because we have been on a journey together. And I'm looking forward to what is coming over the next couple of months. I've been like a broken record, Brad. I repeat myself time and time again, because trading is something that needs to be entwined into people and needs to be consistently told. And I can't go over and say this indicator's magic, this indicator's magic, this indicator's magic. And I can't show you a different indicator every single day because I don't know what each one of them do. And I don't want to learn what each one of them do. I want to hone in, develop my strategy based on what it is that I know, and then show you guys, because you've touched on it quite a few times, Brad. Simplicity really is the key when it comes to trading. Simplicity is the key. Having a clear mindset, ensuring you know what the downside looks like, making sure that you don't put in what you can't afford to lose, because that's the main thing. What is it? There's a statistic, Brad. This is going to frighten a lot of people, but this probably doesn't apply to you guys. So 90% of traders lose 90% of their capital within the first 90 days. Now, the people that have gone through the development, the people that have gone through the tuition, the people that have gone through the heartache, the people that have gone through the pain, and all of these emotions through the cycle are the ones that are going to be able to understand and have that bigger edge. 80%, 70%, 60%, whatever it is, you've got more of an edge of what the new retail that are coming in that are just going to be buying these pumps. What a long-winded way of saying come to my channel and help me get to 10,000 subscribers, guys. Thank each and every single one of you, though, for your support. And your support as well, Brad. You've been great.
My pleasure. You know, I noticed you put this poll out here, and I'm the only guy that was interested in new crypto airdrops. So you had this poll here, and you can't see the results until after you click. But I clicked on. I kind of was interested in seeing if there was any new crypto airdrops that were claimable. But man, 43% of your audience wants to see top 5 altcoins to watch this week, and then next AI powered crypto projects for 2025. So I probably won't be getting any video about an airdrop tokens from you anytime soon, because you want to do what your audience is looking for. But that's exciting stuff too. I'm looking forward to these videos if you decide to make something in this space. So yeah, man, appreciate that. We got just a little bit more time, guys. I know we've been going for almost an hour and a half, but one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, Keith, and I think the easiest token to ask this question would be with DOT. I think that Polygon's probably another one that's decent, but we've seen this pump. We've seen, Polkadot is all the way up to $4. I showed you earlier how I got in on a trade on it at $4.30 something cents.
Yeah.
And so in some people's eyes, they might be looking at like, oh man, DOT is at $4. I'm not sure if I want to be trading DOT with leverage. But I remember a few months ago when I was thinking that DOT was a pretty good leverage token, even at $4.50, $5, because in my opinion, it had the upside of going to, if we take a look here at, say, a little shorter chart here, this 3-month, you can see here that DOT was just, DOT was all the way just back on May 12th, it was up over 5. And I guess we do have to go to the 1 year here, but if we look at I don't know. I got to refresh. If we look at DOT on the 1 year here, it was right here. This is not that long ago. This is back in December.
Yeah.
December, it was over $10. And I think that during a real altcoin season that we look like we might be on the verge of, that DOT could be a $15, $20, $25 token. So I've always felt like DOT had a pretty good, was a good trading token. But my question is, if I were to trade Polkadot right now, with my strategy, I would probably just start off right at about I'd probably do a 10x leverage right from the beginning, because if I do say $100 at $4,
yeah,
my liquidation price is going to be at $360. So then I could go in and do a ladder in at around $360. Well, 36 cents from 360 would take me all the way down to what, 324. So in my opinion, with my trader system, where I want to do an initial entry and maybe a couple ladders, and like if you take 324 and do a third ladder, so if you did a trade at 4, a trade at 360, a trade at 324, that would literally take you under $3 before your trades would get liquidated. So do you feel like even with all of the upside that we've had over the last week or so, that there's still some opportunities? Like, are you still looking at tokens like Polkadot? And Polygon's another one on my list there. I had Polygon pulled up. It's still only at 22, 23 cents. Are there some opportunities for folks that are watching the channel today that maybe missed out, that didn't catch some of these bottoms that we were showing earlier here on these trades, but you still feel like there's some opportunity for folks to get in and to do some leverage trades and have the potential to make some good money?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the pump, haven't we? We've had the big pump. So as far as high leverage is concerned, you need to be thinking of lowering your leverage, because we're at a resistance point. It doesn't mean that we're not going to break through. And $4 on Polkadot, I like Polkadot at $4. And what did we get? $3.29 entry on Polkadot we got on the channel. So we got $3.29 entry on Polkadot. It's at $4.03. And I would expect Polkadot to continue. It's got a resistance point at 429 and then another resistance point at 462. But I mean, from a bigger perspective,
if I understand you correctly, you like the idea, even at $4, even though it's gone from 429 or 329 up to 4,
yeah,
you would still consider, if you didn't have a trade in on DOT yet, going ahead and making a trade. But if I'm understanding you correctly, rather than being my kind of balls to the walls, aggressive, let's do 10x leverage and ladder in, it sounds like you would be more comfortable like starting off with, say, 3x leverage, which would give you then what, 33%? That would take your liquidation all the way down to under $3 right off the bat. So am I catching you correctly? Like, you would like the idea of starting off at 3? So let me ask you this. If you were to put in a 3x leverage trade on Polkadot, at what price point would you feel like it's broken through resistance and you would start to feel comfortable raising the leverage and adding to that trade?
Once it's putting you higher low in. So as far as the scaling is concerned, if I had $100 in DOT now, I'd scale my position in over not just small support bases, 4 lots of small support bases. If you get 75 in, you get 75 in, 25, don't worry about that, move on. So you've got your 75 in, and that's your laddered position down, similar to what you do, but on a shorter scale, over a shorter time frame, over a shorter period, less candles. So I could do that, and I'd feather my position in. I've got a support on DOT of $3.81, and the aim of the game, if I can just share my screen again, Brad.
Yeah,
let me show you that, because what we've actually done on this channel is we've done about 3 DOT videos recently, and firstly we started off with a stop loss down here. We managed to get the break here, we managed to get the retest here, and then what that allowed us to do, once we got this new swing and a higher low and a resistance support flip, that allowed us to put our stop loss to break even. Now we're at a new point, and I've done this on my trade already. We're at a new point now where you're banking all the way. This is the entry down here, $3.29. Banking, you're banking. We've put in a new higher low. So to answer your question, Brad, I would be looking to add my position. I'd be looking to increase my stop loss and building my position on a break, increasing my stop loss on a higher low. So with this trade here, we've got $3.78. We had an entry of $3.29. That's $3.78. If this comes down now, that is in profit. That's in profit by a really decent amount. Do I think that it's going to come down there? I don't think it's going to come down there. I think it's going to continue higher. If you look at it on the daily, it looks a little bit more clearer. We've got a bit more wiggle room. And as far as you saying $15 is concerned, that $15, Brad, is only a 61.8% retracement from this swing, not from this big high here, from this lower high here in April 2022. From April 2022, we've been in this accumulative range. We've already put in 2 nearly $11 highs. No, we've put in 2 $11 highs. So we've put in 2 $11 highs in a bear market. You've got a 61.8% retracement just from this little swing here. I think $15, $16, mate. That's very doable. So it's catching it, isn't it, though? And if you've got high leverage on, you've got to think about exchanges as well. And hate to say it, and it is a little bit of a myth, but unfortunately, an exchange, when you've got a big leverage position on, they don't like you having that big position on, and you'll get liquidity hunts. So if your position turns too big for them to get worried about, expect a wick to the downside on that exchange, because it can happen, Brad. It's happened with me time and time again. I'll tell you something, FTX was a nightmare for it. You trade on FTX and you used to see these scam wicks up, scam wicks. And then you'd look at the actual spot chart and nothing had happened, like literally a tiny little accumulation. And I felt there was something wrong with FTX, and I ended up with $20 in there, and my brother ended up with 60 Solana. So I lost $20, and my brother lost 60 Solana, and he ended up getting that back for $10. So when he's literally just getting it back now, it's all getting sorted, and he's getting the equivalent of $10 of Solana for it. So I mean, putting my position up above the higher lows, that's a protection point. And that's the main thing for me. And what I'm looking for is a break before I'm increasing my leverage. On this, you can't really see that it's a nice break here. That's not a nice break. There's 1 touch, there's 2 touch. And one thing that you've got here is a bit of a diamond pattern, which is a bit more of a topping pattern than anything else. So when is this invalidated? This is invalidated when you get a break to the upside. So if we've got a break to the upside from this diamond, then that'd be invalidated. But usually it's more of a topping pattern where you're putting in a little bit of a high, you're coming back down, you come and kissing the low. If it goes and breaches the previous low, that's even stronger signal that you get further downside. But the thing is, with the altcoins at the moment, it's all about hype. And I always say to my group, when you're in bullish trends, resistance doesn't matter. When you're in a bearish trend, support doesn't matter. It falls through, it falls through, it falls through. So it is a little bit of sentiment that you need behind that. And I think that we're going to have that sentiment on Polkadot. And I would take a 3x leverage trade on Polkadot is what I'm saying. But I'd also have the caveat that I've got a protection at $3.79. And once I'd put in a swing high and a new higher low testing that support base here, then I would protect myself, put my stop loss to break even, protect yourself, bank profits along the way. So that's an important thing as well that other people said on the channel earlier on. I'm really happy that some of your viewers have cottoned on to the fact that you don't have to take everything off the table all at once. You could just take 20% off the table, reallocate that 20%. What happens if you can't reallocate that 20%? It doesn't matter, it was profit. So it's changing the mindset and flipping the mindset, and all collectively as a community, your community, my community, all of us bouncing ideas off each other and thinking about these risk management tools that we can put in place to protect us, help us sleep at night, and stop us waking up at 3 o'clock looking at the Bitcoin chart. Yes.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, yeah, you're right, Brad. Down there is better. Your H-bar trade down there. I mean, you're going to struggle to get a better entry than that. But it's a trade. A price is consistent. If you're going to get a swing to the upside on H-bar, you're going to get a swing 35% to the upside from where price is now, 23 cents. You got exactly the same as what you've just done there, Brad. It's a bit bigger than that, actually. A bit bigger than that, your swing. But just say, for instance, you've got a 30% move, a 35% move here. Price is 15 cents, and then you took profits at 20 cents. And then you do exactly the same. You've got 35% move here. Looks a lot bigger. But it's still a 35% move. So you're at 23 cents, take it out 31 cents. It doesn't matter whether you're down here and you take profits here, or whether you're here and you take profits here, or whether you're here and you take profits here. When you're trading, you're not looking to stay in there long term. You're looking to try and capitalize to help that build your investment pot, help that build a profitable amount of capital so you can continue trading, but diversifying that amount, that allocation. So you don't need to worry about this. If you're trading, you don't need to worry about getting these bottoms. Guess what? Coming back here at a strong support, getting a higher low is better than that. You get a big move to the upside. That's a confirmation rather than down here, which is a speculation. So I think that it is a little bit of a myth. When you're trading, when you understand trading, whether you're getting an entry at what level, it doesn't matter because it's a 24-hour chart. There's lots of different pairs and there's opportunities at all times. 30% moves a 30% move, regardless of whether it's 15% or regardless of whether it's 25%. So I think it's a strong thing to flip your mindset from trading to investing and vice versa, because the rules are completely different, like literally completely different.
Perfect, man. I definitely appreciate having you on the stream on these Tuesdays. It's been such a great learning experience for me, and I know that my community really enjoys having you too. So I know it's getting a little bit late over there on your side, in your neck of the woods.
Couple of quick ones, Brad. Sorry to interrupt. You did say a couple of trades. I like the look of Shiba at the moment. That's one thing I like the look of, and the other one is Sui. So I like the look of Sui. Sui's looking a little bit exhausted at the moment. If we can get a pullback on Sui, if I just bring the fib up very quickly, I know you're trying to.
When you say Sui, are you talking about SUI or SEI?
SUI. Okay. So Sui, we've got Sui. If we can get Sui at $3.39, I'm loving that. So that's my two, Shiba and Sui.
I actually got one that I'd like you to look at for me real quick. Have you heard of SPX? 6900 ticker SPX.
69.
So one of
is it SPX 6900 USD, this one?
Yeah. Yep. I think it's trading at about $1.55. So I've got a guy whose Discord group that I'm in that I really like a lot, and he said that this SPX is one of the cleanest looking charts that he's seen, and that he expects this thing to be an absolute, monster during this bull market. I placed one trade on it and I already cashed out kind of in some profit. But I was looking at potentially throwing some more money at an SPX trade.
Mate, that is a massive move. So that's a cup and handle, Brad, and a cup and handle, how you measure the projections of the cup and handle is you go from the head, which is actually more up here. Move that up a bit. From up here, you measure this, And this is going to be a big swing. So obviously I'm not financial advice, Brad, but this is how you measure from a technical perspective a breakout of a cup and handle. This is how deep that was.
Yep.
This is how big the breakout is. And that number, Brad, is $3.21. And that price is, oh, sorry, that percentage gain, sorry, from where price is now, 102.22%.
Okay.
That's a high probability move, Brad, once you get a break and once you get a close above this level here.
Okay.
You're creating, so that's the big cup and handle. These carry a hell of a lot of weight behind them.
Yep.
Now this here is also another trading pattern which has got a high probability move attached to it on a shorter time frame, which is the inverse. Head and shoulders. Get a breakout of that, and you do exactly the same. And this would be a shorter swing than the one that we just mentioned because it's a shorter time frame, shorter period of time for it to happen. That would be all the way up here, $2.54. Is that thing tradable? Is it just spot?
Yeah, no. Like I'm able to trade it on weeks, and let me double check and see if it's on BYDFI. Yeah, it's on both weeks and BYDFI.
Do you know what, Brad? I if it was me on this one, because I quite like the look at this. I've never even seen it before. What you got? Let me just check, see how big this move was here. Right, okay, yeah, that's good. So you've come back, you've got a 1-2-1 here. This is a 1-2-1. That's a 1-2-1. So that's an equal measured move where it's exactly the same. That swing's exactly the same as that swing. So we've come back down to a support base. Let me just see this swing here, or measure this swing and see if we can find a good entry on this. 618, you come back up, nearly kissed the 618, and then we've had a move to the upside. Okay. So the way that I play this now, looking at this, because we haven't had a break, so it's not a high probability move yet. However, if you want skin in the game and you're scared in case you do get a break at any given time, we're on the 4 hour now, I'd go in on a shorter amount of leverage now. And when I get the break of trend, and once I get a break and a close of trend, that's a candle that finishes the day like that, not like this, not like this, and then back in. It finishes the day like that. That's a confirmed breakout. That's a high probability move. That's an inverse head and shoulders high probability move. On the higher, bigger move, you've got the breakout of the cup and handle, both of them exactly the same levels. You've got big confluence there attached to those. So, Brad, that's how I'd play that. I'd have a little amount in there now because we've had a swing, which has moved from this bottom here to where price is now, 12%. So you're buying 12% higher from this bottom. However, it's a case of, did you want to miss this just in case? So if you're on a low leverage, at least you get some of this swing if you miss the breakout. But another thing that you can do is just put in an order for a break and close up here. So if you get a break, well, not a break and close, sorry, if price comes up and touches, you can put in an order. So if price comes up and touches this level, if price comes up and touches this level, it'll take your order and it'll take a long. Now, to me, I don't like doing that because the one thing that it can do is wick you out. And it often happens when you're at these strong resistance levels where the price goes up like that and it comes back down, where you would have entered here, then it would have put you straight in a loss. So I always wait and understand exactly. We've got 4 hours on this 4 hour chart. So once you get a 4 hour close, for instance, could be in 4 hours. What have we got left on this? 2 hours, 10. Could be in 4 hours. It could be in 6 hours. It could be tomorrow sometime. It could be next week. Once you get a break and once you get a close, just look at that every 4 hours or every 6 hours. Once you get a break, once you get a close, then you can start adding your position leverage on there. Then you can start putting these big protections underneath here because price is very much unlikely to come back and break such a strong structure, which acted as resistance for such a long period of time. That such a long period of time is the whole of its lifespan by the looks of it.
Awesome, man. Well, hopefully maybe I put something on your radar there that you'll make some money off of too, but that's definitely one that I'm, looking to do some trading on.
I think I'm joining you on that, my friend. We'll have to talk about that a little bit more.
Awesome. Well,
Right.
guys, I have a important meeting at 11 a.m. here in about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to be on another amazing YouTuber's channel. So I ran into another gentleman that, a lot like Keith, really saw the vision of the AGAPE token and wants to have me on his channel and share the AGAPE token and myself with his community. I look forward to introducing him to you guys in the Telegram group very soon, and I'll keep you posted on when that video is going to be getting published. But things are headed in the right direction. For those of you that are a part of the AGAPE token already, thank you for your patience. I know it's slower going sometimes than we wish, but I do think that good things will happen for those of us that are supporting the AGAPE token, and that your belief and your commitment to being a part of the project will definitely be well rewarded.
It's a great project, Brad, that you've got there. So no, it's thank you for having me on again, though.
Yeah, what are your thoughts for next week? Do you want to come on next week, or you got things to be doing?
I'll be joining you next week.
Awesome.
I'll be joining.
I
you
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. We're going to change the name of the channel to the Real Infinite Bullseye.
You flatter me too much, Brad.
Ah, man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you all for watching. God bless each and every one of you that was watching today and joined us. We appreciate all of you, and we will see you again very soon. Oh, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hop on for the Microcap Gem Wednesday live stream. We'll be going over some high risk, high reward tokens tomorrow on the live stream. So with that, folks, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.